So, riddle me this. Amanda loved cats very much. One day, she visited an acquaintance and met her lovely Persian cat. Amanda asked her acquaintance how old the cat was. Well, in 2 years, Luna will be twice as old as she was 5 years ago. Amanda nodded and continued petting the cat. And did you understand how old the animal was? Luna is 12 years old. That's an old kitty. Look at these 3 friends. They seem to have gotten into a trap. They're hanging upside down in the air with their legs tied. On the ground, under the blonde girl's head, there are several venomous snakes. Under the head of the girl with red hair, a fire is burning. And on the ground, under the guy, there are a couple of scorpions. How can these guys escape? See that black cloud with lightning? It's going to start raining. The rainwater will put out the fire under the girl with red hair. And look, the girl has a knife tucked under her belt. She can cut the rope tying her legs. And when she's on the ground, she can help the other 2. Hannah was running a marathon. Right before the finish line, she outran the person who was running in second place. The woman was happy she was going to win. But in a few seconds, she got very disappointed. Why? Hannah was still the second best. She was faster than the second person, not the first. Olivia was a secret agent on a mission. At one point during the mission, she had to get into a room with ancient artifacts. But to enter, she needed to choose between 2 doors. In front of them, there were 2 guards. Soon, Olivia realized that one guard always lied and the other always told the truth. One door was safe to open and the other hid a terrible danger. The secret agent could only ask one guard one question to figure out which door she needed to go through. What question should it be? Olivia should ask, if I asked the other guard which door was safe to open, what would he say? Both guards will point at the door that hides some danger. The lying guard, because he's, well, always lying, and the guard who tells the truth, because that's what the lying guard would tell Olivia. So the woman just needs to open the other door. Liza was working as a teaching assistant at a college. One day, she had to look after a group of students who were writing an exam. Liza knew some of them were going to cheat, and indeed, soon after the exam started, the girl spotted one person who was cheating. Who is it? It's the guy in the back of the classroom. He's got the answers written on his ruler. Can you figure out which of these 2 watches is real and which is just a toy? The watch on the left is a toy. Look at its minute hand. It's too long and won't be able to pass all the way around the watch face. In a small village, there were 4 people who were suspected of being werewolves. One night, the village held a meeting to decide which of them was the monster. Here's what the suspects look like. This person has long, sharp fingernails and is known for being able to run extremely fast. This person has long, sharp teeth and is known for being able to see in the dark. This person has wild, unkempt hair and is known for being able to jump high. And this person has a deep growling voice and is known for being able to smell things from far away. Can you figure out which of them is the werewolf? Suspect B is the werewolf. The description of long, sharp teeth and being able to see in the dark are both typical characteristics of werewolves in mythology and folklore. While the other suspects have unusual traits as well, they are not necessarily associated with werewolves. Joe has a friend, Lucas, who never answered any questions directly. Once, Joe sent Lucas a message inviting him to join their common friends in a cafe. Lucas's answer was kind of weird. "Sorry, no money, JOBINJOB." Luckily, Joe knew his friend well enough to understand what he meant. But can you figure it out? Lucas meant he had no money because he was in between jobs. Look at this bizarre wedding. What do you think? Why are these people, who are about to get married, wearing black balaclavas? Look, there are cameras on the walls. This couple must be hiding their identities. 3 friends went for a walk in a forest. People said a wizard lived there, and he wasn't a kind, friendly person. But our guys didn't believe these rumors. Everyone knows magic doesn't exist. Suddenly, a wall of fire blocked their way. Look at the things the friends have and try to figure out what they can use to put the fire out. They could use this bucket to bring some water from that puddle, but it wouldn't be enough to put out such a large fire. This hose is useless, there's nothing to attach it to. The friends should choose this spade and use soil to put the fire out. You're in a forest. Suddenly, it starts raining. You notice a cave and hide there. But as soon as you get inside, the opening behind you closes. There are 3 tunnels in front of you, and one of them leads to freedom. But the first tunnel is full of crocodiles that haven't eaten in 2 years. In the second tunnel, there is a hungry lion that hasn't had any food in 2 weeks. And the third tunnel leads to a scorching hot desert. Which tunnel should you choose? You should wait until the desert cools down at night and follow the third tunnel. As for crocodiles, yes, these animals can indeed live without food for up to 2 years. Lions can also survive for 2 weeks without eating anything. But before you get a chance to leave the cave, you hear some deafening noise. It's a landslide. The tunnels end up blocked, but you now see 3 other passages. A fire-breathing, wait, is it a dragon? Is guarding the first passage. The second passage is filled with hundreds of poisonous cacti growing there. Their spines are covered with an extremely toxic substance. And in the third tunnel, you can see the red eyes of some very hungry wolves. Which tunnel can lead you to safety? You should choose the tunnel with the cacti. At least they can't move. And if you're careful, you'll be able to walk around the cacti without touching their spines. One morning, Donna came to the office and found a box of chocolates on her desk. There was also a strange note. Can you help Donna understand who presented her the sweets? Her secret admirer is Ryan. Those are not dates. The number actually means the needed letter in the name of the month. A man told his boss, "Don't take your planned flight today. I had a dream last night that if you do, it might end badly. Your plane will crash." The boss fired the man. Can you figure out why? The man was a night watchman. He should have been on duty the previous night, not dreaming. Jacob and Mark decided to go on a camping trip. Look at the things they're going to take with them and say what they should leave at home. A small hint, try to think outside the box. Look, a tent, game, rice, lamp. All of these words consist of 4 letters. But a chair? This word has 5 letters. The friends should leave it at home. A man went around the world in a ship, and still he was always in sight of land. How is it possible? The man was in a spaceship orbiting Earth. Hannah's birthday is on January 23rd, but she always celebrates it in the summer. Why? Hannah lives in the Southern Hemisphere. There, January is one of the hottest months of the year. Hey, nice job! 3 wealthy businessmen complained to Detective Brooke. This week, an unknown criminal stole a car from each of them, and he left no traces. But Brooke figured out his pattern. She thinks the thief will soon commit new crimes. Mike, Colin, and Bill are at risk because they own very expensive cars. Whose car will the thief steal tonight? If you already know the answer, make sure to share it in the comments. Let's take a closer look at the order of the thefts. The colors of the cars match the colors of the rainbow: red, orange, and yellow. So Colin's green car will be the next target. Detective Brooke finds the criminal's garage and begins rummaging around. He has a secret door protected by a combination lock. There's a note with 4 images next to the door. Brooke thinks for a while, presses 4 numbers, and opens the door. What numbers did she press? If you nailed it right away, please let us know. The code is 2731. Each digit corresponds to the number of colors of the object in the picture. Brooke enters the secret room and sees 6 rings on the table. Try to memorize all the details, because you're going to need them later. Okay, now, can you find the rings that were not present in the original picture? Make sure to share your answer. Rings A, C, and F don't belong here. After a long day of work, Brooke is starving. She wants to grab something sweet, so she goes to the candy shop. Brooke has 3 options to choose from: cotton candy, a candy cane, or a candy apple. Which food is dangerous? Let us know in the comments. Take a closer look at the cotton candy. There's a tiny spider stuck inside. Yikes! As for the apple, it has a little worm inside. So Brooke should definitely buy the candy cane. Brooke is passing by the food court and spots 2 families. One of them is super rich, while the other one very broke. Can you guess who is who? Think carefully and feel free to leave your answer in the comment section below. Take a look at the second family. They don't eat this rotten food. The son is just taking pictures. Meanwhile, the first family shares 1 pizza and drinks water, which is usually free. And the mother's phone looks very outdated. Therefore, the super rich family is on the right. Brooke walks up to the diner and sees 6 different burgers in the window. Try to memorize them. You're going to need the details later. Now, let's take a look at the 9 images. Which of these burgers didn't appear in the initial picture? Give this video a thumbs up if you already know the answer. Burgers B, D, and E are all new. The next day, Detective Brooke receives a new mysterious case. Someone attacked Larry, the HR manager of a large international company. It happened about an hour ago. Brooke finds 3 suspects. The first one is Lily. She's an applicant who was a bit angry with Larry because he made her wait for ages. Lily stayed outside in the rain and probably caught a cold, but she says she didn't attack him. Kyle, the company's marketing director, attended meetings from early morning until lunchtime, so he claims he didn't see Larry at all. Jeff from the IT department tells Brooke that he rode his bike to a coffee shop to get his cappuccino. He returned just now. Who's the attacker? Hurry up to be the first to comment. Jeff. Both his bike and his clothes are dry and clean. How is that possible if it's raining? Jeff runs away. Detective Brooke starts chasing him. She ends up in a dusty basement. There are 3 tunnels leading outside. The first one is guarded by an invisible monster. This creature attacks anyone who dares to enter. The second tunnel is half flooded with poisoned water. Drinking it is fatal for any human. And the third tunnel is infested with mutant cockroaches. They can fly and bite people. Which way is more or less safe? Give this video a thumbs up if you already know the answer. She should choose the second tunnel. The water's only dangerous if you drink it, so Brooke can just walk through the tunnel with her mouth closed and be safe. The next morning, Detective Brooke enjoys a day off at the beach. Suddenly, she hears a quarrel taking place nearby. This lady claims that someone has stolen her phone. Brooke spots the thief right away. Can you spot them? This blonde lady stole her phone. She's taking selfies with her own phone, but there's another one hidden in her swimsuit. Busted! Hit the like button if you manage to crack this riddle. Brooke spots 6 parrots on a tree and takes a picture. She visits the bathroom and then returns to the same tree. Can you find the parrots that were not present in her picture? Parrots A, E, and F arrived just now. Was it difficult? Let us know in the comments. Detective Brooke receives an emergency call from work. There's a dangerous visitor from another planet hanging out at the beach. It can look like a human, so Brooke should be very careful. Can you help her spot anything suspicious? Don't forget to share your thoughts. This volleyball player has too many arms for a regular human. Detective Brooke is working on her laptop in a coffee shop. Oops, it's time to visit the bathroom. Brooke decides it's safe enough to leave her stuff unattended. But after going to the bathroom, she finds out that her backpack and her laptop are missing. Brooke runs outside and sees 3 elderly ladies with picnic baskets sitting in the park. She interrogates them, but the ladies swear they didn't notice anything suspicious. Miss Anderson has just joined her friends. Miss Smith is eating her sandwich and reading a newspaper, and Miss Gold is taking pictures of squirrels. But still, Detective Brooke arrests one of the ladies. Can you guess who? Hurry up to be the first to comment. Brooke's backpack was red, remember? There's a red strap hanging out of Miss Anderson's picnic basket. Ooh, busted. Detective Brooke comes across a poster with 6 animals: a cat, a camel, a cheetah, a chicken, a crocodile, and a pig. Which animal doesn't belong here? The pig. It's the only animal whose name doesn't start with the letter C. But if you have a different answer, let us know. Brooke receives a call from her best friend, Amanda. She suspects that her boyfriend, Will, has a secret from her. Amanda wants to access his laptop to investigate, but she doesn't know his password. Luckily, there's a hint note right on his desk. It says Apple, Man, and Dawn. Give this video a thumbs up if you crack this code. And the password is Amanda. Yep, her name is the code. Aww. Will was just preparing a surprise for Amanda's birthday. He took her on a romantic helicopter trip. But unfortunately, their vehicle broke down in the air, and they had to land on a tiny uninhabited island. The guys can't call for help. Their cell phones and radio don't work. There are no trees on the island, only sand and rocks around them, so they can't make a smoke signal. Suddenly, Amanda notices a plane circling the sky, but unfortunately, it's flying too high and the pilot can't see them. Will comes up with a bright idea, and soon after, the plane picks them up. What did they do? Think carefully and share your ideas. They use rocks to spell out SOS on the sand. The plane takes Amanda and Will to the mainland, and now they need to take a bus to get home. Only one of these 4 buses will take them to their final destination. Can you guess which one? It's the second bus. Hit the like button if you nailed it. And if you want to train your thinking on a daily basis, don't forget to subscribe.
Cora gets a new job and moves into a luxury apartment in Manhattan. Her condo has 13 floors. 5 people are living on the ground floor, and each floor has 2 more people on it compared to the previous one. Which floor calls the elevator the most? Any person who lives on a floor other than the ground floor would have to call the elevator to reach their respective floors. So, the ground floor should call the elevator way more frequently than the other floors.
Oh.
Cora meets her neighbor, Mason. He has 4 daughters, Hannah, Elle, Eve, and Anna. What pattern did he use to name them? His daughters have palindromic names. You can read them from left to right and from right to left, but they'll remain the same.
Oh.
Cora takes the elevator to the 13th floor where she lives. The elevator takes her to the desired floor. She comes out and freaks out right away. Why? Take a look at the mirror. It didn't reflect the number 13 correctly. 4 movers show up to help Cora with her boxes, but one of them is an imposter.
Hello.
Can you guess who? The third guy carries the only box that doesn't have Cora's name on it. Also, one of his arms is in a cast. He hid it under his gloves and sleeves, but Cora cannot be tricked so easily. The next day, Cora receives 4 welcome baskets from her neighbors. One of them isn't safe. Can you guess which one? The second basket looks delicious, but take a closer look. There are bugs instead of chocolate in these cookies. Yuck! Cora wants to hire a cleaner to take care of her apartment. She interviews 3 people. Sandra says she has 20 years of experience in this field. Harry is a student who needs extra money to pay his bills and buy food. And Bianca has recently moved from her parents' farm. She needs a job as soon as possible. Who's lying? Harry. Take a closer look. He's too transparent to be a real human. Ghosts don't need to pay bills and buy food. Liar.
Oh no.
There's a swimming pool on the roof of Cora's condo. She goes there and meets 3 neighbors in the shower. One of them is not from this planet. Can you guess who? The third lady is a visitor from outer space. She has 7 toes instead of 5. Also, she lacks a belly button. And it seems like the shower steam goes through her body. Cora comes back home and finds out that someone stole one of her expensive paintings and replaced it with a cheap copy.
What?
How did she know? The third painting has a slightly thinner frame than the others. That's because it's a fake. Cora decides to question her neighbors. She knocks on 2 doors just next to hers. Ashley and Megan live in separate apartments just next to Cora. These 2 ladies have partners, but one of them dates 3 people at once. Can you guess who? Ashley has 3 different cakes in her fridge, so she probably had 3 different guests recently. Cora wants to find the thief who stole her painting, so she calls the police. Officers examine the crime scene and arrest 3 suspects right away. Can you tell who's guilty by just looking at this picture? The thief left footprints of sneakers on the carpet next to the paintings. Only the first suspect has the matching shoes and size. The next morning, Cora goes hiking in the woods, and eventually, she gets lost. There are 3 routes that she can take. One has animal footprints, the second one has human footprints, and the third route is along the river. Which path is the most reliable? Cora should choose the third route. Animals might be dangerous and people are not reliable, but the river will lead her to the city or a bigger body of water with a beach. In the evening, Cora goes to the local concert hall. One of these guys is a real magician. Can you guess who? The first guy is hiding a card under his sleeve. The second one makes his card levitate with the help of teeny tiny strings. But the third magician's hat levitates on its own. So he's the real one. Cora is watching an opera set in ancient Egypt, so the actors are dressed in appropriate costumes. After the show, Cora goes backstage to meet them. But one of these people is not an actor. This person is a time traveler from the past. Can you spot the imposter? All 4 people are dressed in ancient Egyptian costumes, so we should use the method of elimination. The first guy is using a smartphone, so he's probably an actor. The second lady has a modern manicure, so let's exclude her too. The fourth lady has a sports car tattoo on her leg, so she must be from this century as well. Therefore, the third guy is a time traveler. Cora arrives at the condo after the opera late at night. She enters the empty lobby and suddenly hears weird sounds from the basement. Cora goes there to check and finds herself in a secret, spooky dungeon. She finds a door with a combination lock which requires a 4-letter password. There's a mirror next to the door. Someone wrote the word "live" on its surface. Cora tries to enter this word, but it doesn't work. Can you help her crack the code? The mirror is part of the clue. Cora should reflect this word, and the password is evil. Finally, Cora opens the door. She sees a secret meeting taking place in a creepy hallway. All participants are dressed in robes and masks. They catch Cora and offer her a deal. If she manages to crack their riddles, she'll become part of the club. But if not, she'll remain locked in the dungeon forever. Here's the riddle. My neighbor makes mistakes. I get rid of them. Who am I? Can you help Cora out? I'm an eraser. Cora nails it, and now she's invited to go into the Hall of Mirrors alone. Cora sees a bunch of fun reflections of herself in the weird mirrors, but suddenly she freaks out and screams. Why is that? One of the reflections doesn't belong to Cora, so she's not alone in this room. Cora enters the next room and gets trapped in a spooky, abandoned public shower. She needs to choose one of these 3 doors to get out. There's a bunch of hungry rats behind the first door. There's an unknown glowing substance behind a second door. It may or may not be toxic. And there's a firewall behind the third door. Which way is more or less safe? Cora should choose the third door. Look around. She's in the shower, remember? She can use a bucket and water to put out the fire. Now Cora needs to crack this twisted circle maze to find the way out. Can you help her? Here's the correct route. Cora enters the next room and finds herself in a huge, chic dining room. There are 3 figures in robes and masks staring at her, but one of them is just a statue. Can you guess who? The first figure is breathing deeply. The second is blinking. You can see it through the mask. So the third figure must be the statue. People in masks give Cora 3 envelopes. She can choose one of them and take what's inside as a gift. One of them contains a $100 million diamond necklace. Another one, a pair of wool socks. And the third one, $10,000 in cash. Each envelope is signed. The first one says, "Necklace isn't here." The second one says, "Necklace is here." And the third one says, "Necklace might be here." Can you help Cora make the right choice? She should ignore the writings and simply weigh the envelopes. The desired one should be much heavier than the others.
Oh, yes.
Cora gets her necklace. The secret club members take off their robes and masks and turn on the lights. Cora recognizes her neighbors. That was just a welcoming prank. But still, something is odd here. Can you guess what? The lamp levitates.
Oh my god.
Kai gets a new job as a lab assistant. He arrives at work early in the morning. Bad news! All capsules with their robots have opened, and now the robots are crushing the lab. Kai runs to the control panel, but unfortunately, the previous employee left a hot mess. All the wires are tangled. Which button should Kai press? Only the blue button can be helpful because it will stop all the robots. Kai's wife, Stella, runs an art studio. She has 3 talented painters in her class.
Hello.
Tom, Sam, and Mia. Today, Stella learns good news. One of her students' paintings won an international competition.
Yes!
But instead of announcing the winner's name right away, Stella draws this sketch. Can you guess the winner? Stella encoded a hint in her sketch. If we take the first letters of these 3 words, we'll get the name Sam. Kai and Stella reunite to go to sleep. A loud sound wakes them up in the middle of the night. They hide under their blankets. After a while, they dare to look out and see a werewolf. Kai soon realizes that the monster isn't real. How did he know? Look out the window. It's not a full moon today.
Oh.
Kai arrives at the lab and finds out that his boss, Richard, had been attacked. Richard was working on a very important chemical project with 3 assistants, Agnes, Allison, and Amelia. Police officers examine the crime scene and discover a spoon in the hand of the unconscious scientist. Why would Richard hold a silver spoon? Soon, Kai cracks this hint, and the officers arrest the criminal. How did they know? Richard was a chemistry scientist, so he gave a hint. Ag is the chemical symbol for silver. The scientist was pointing at Agnes. Kai enters an abandoned part of the lab. This place is infested with rats. Can you figure out where the rat is hiding? Over here. What about these teapots? Where's the rat? Hello. Kai returns to his office and notices that someone robbed him. What 3 things did the thief steal? Here they are. Kai wants to know who robbed his office. He questions 3 suspects. Amelia says that she went to the library to grab a book. Allison says that she went to wash her hands before lunch. And Oliver says he went to the gym for his daily workout. Who's lying? Allison couldn't wash her hands. Take a look at the announcement. There's no water in the lab today. After work, Kai takes a walk in the park. This elderly lady lost her husband.
Oh my lord.
Can you find him among these guys? It's the 3rd man. They have identical stickers from Paris on their bags, so they probably traveled together. Kai enters a new candy store. It has just opened in his neighborhood. Unfortunately, someone robbed this place last night. The police are having a hard time because security cameras haven't been installed yet. They find 3 main suspects living in this area. All 3 have recently been released from prison. Alex just got free. He hasn't left the house yet, and his security camera footage proves it. Mike says that he's got a new job. It's very exhausting, and sometimes he wishes he'd rather be in prison. And Kevin has recently broken his leg, so he doesn't leave the house because he doesn't have any money for any crutches. Who robbed the candy store? Alex! He's all covered in soot. Take a look at his fireplace. He climbed out through it. On the weekend, Kai comes to a big family dinner at his relative's house. He takes a lot of pictures. One of these photos shows a mother and daughter, and the other photo shows a stepmother and stepdaughter. Can you guess who is who? The first woman has the same mole under her eye as the daughter. They must be blood relatives. So the second lady is the stepmother. Kai and Stella are chilling on the beach. Kai goes swimming alone. After a while, he returns and finds Stella unconscious on a sun lounger. Kai calls the police and doctors. They figure out that Stella was poisoned. The officer investigates the crime scene and Stella's stuff. Can you help him find anything suspicious? Take a look at her glass. There are pills in her cocktail. The detective immediately takes fingerprints from Stella's glass. Can you help find the main suspect? Why did the photographer touch her glass? That's suspicious. Kai and Stella return home and realize their cat Fluffy is missing. They question 3 neighbors. Vivian says that she didn't see any cats and she's allergic to all the animals. That's why she stays away from them. Helen says that she has no reason to steal their cat because she has her own. Donna says that she was painting her fence and saw Fluffy for a moment, but the cat ran away very quickly. Can you figure out who's lying? Donna mentioned that she painted her fence, but does it look freshly painted? Busted! Kai is meeting his brother Frank. One of these ladies is Frank's girlfriend. Can you guess who? The lipstick marks on Frank's neck are exactly the same as the first lady's lipstick, so she's his girlfriend. The next morning, Kai arrives at the lab. Wow! Someone left a weird gift box on his desk. Kai opens it and finds a cute teddy bear. The box isn't signed. Kai wants to know who did it, so he questions his coworkers. Amelia says that she didn't enter Kai's office today. Oliver says that he's afraid of soft toys. And the janitor says that he entered Kai's room in the morning to vacuum clean it. He didn't see any gift boxes. Who's lying? Oliver. Take a look at his own desk. There's a couple of soft toys there, so his story is fake. Kai goes shopping and buys 2 items. A hat and a scarf cost $110. The hat is $100 more expensive than the scarf. How much does the scarf cost? $5. It means that the hat costs $105, which is exactly $100 more than the scarf. Meanwhile, Stella arrives at her art gallery. Oh no! Someone sprayed the best paintings with yellow paint! Stella closed the gallery at 9 p.m. last night, and everything was fine. The police find 3 suspects and visit their houses. The guard who was on duty last night didn't notice anything suspicious. He locked the gallery at 10 and went home. The janitor completed cleaning at 9:30. The paintings were fine. The barista who works on the opposite side of the street claims that he closed the coffee shop at 8:30 p.m. last night. Who ruined the paintings? Take a closer look at the guard's trash bin. He threw away a pair of gloves stained with yellow paint. Busted!
Oh, man!
Kai and Stella go hiking and get lost. Soon they come across 4 roads. The first one leads to a supermassive black hole. It swallows everything that gets close. The second road ends in a sea full of sharks. The third road leads to a mountain that's impossible to climb over. And the fourth road ends in a bottomless abyss. Which road should the guy take? They should choose the third road. No one says they should climb the mountain. They can simply go around it. Duh.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Stella and Kai keep on hiking. Stella asks him a riddle. Can you start a fire using 2 pieces of wood? Yes, make sure one of them is a matchstick. The next day, Stella and Kai are driving through the city in 2 separate cars. They both started their journey at the same time. Kai's green car is moving at a speed of 30 miles per hour. Meanwhile, Stella's yellow car is moving at the speed of 50 miles per hour. At one point, the green car comes across the yellow car. How is it possible? The cars are traveling in the opposite direction.
Hey, are you ready to test your brain power and see how much of it you actually use? Then, let's start. There once was an evil king who loved himself so much, he'd always carry a pocket mirror to admire his own reflection. He wanted to have the largest and the most expensive castle in the whole world. He made workers build it day and night without a break, so they decided to take revenge on him. Once the castle was ready, the king went in and found himself in a maze. There were 3 doors, and he had to pick one to get out. Behind the first door, there was a hungry monster that could take the life of anyone who looked at it. Behind the second door, there was a shaky bridge over a chasm that was easy to fall into. And the third door opened to a massive fire blocking the way. So, what should the king choose? The king should choose the first door. He can use that mirror he has to reflect the monster's gaze. Voila! The monster is gone, and the king can pass easily. Sandra has just moved into a new apartment, but she's in trouble already. She saw 2 people break into the apartment next door. She knew for sure she had just one neighbor, and he was a circus performer.
Oh.
Sandra called the police, but since none of the men had a key or an ID on them, the police couldn't help much. They decided to figure out which of the men was lying. Can you help them? Although there's plenty of sports gear in the room, the real clue is the flower on the clown's hat. The exact same flowers are growing in the apartment, so he's the real owner. The police found a secret lab with a mad scientist living in it. He was working on a superpower potion that would help him take over the city. Somehow, he managed to escape from the lab, and now the police have to find him to prevent disaster. Do you have any ideas on how to do it? There are some flasks in the trash can. They must be the clue. And he must have left this weird gadget behind. Let's keep on searching. Here are some suspicious footprints. The mad scientist must have left them behind. Do you see him? There he is, hiding behind the car. Neil invited his best friends to his birthday party and ordered a cab for them so they wouldn't have to drive. Everyone had fun, but then it was time to open the gifts, and one of the boxes turned out to be empty. Someone must have stolen it.
Oh no.
Sue said, "I make more money than all of you together. Why would I steal that gift?" Nikki said, "I've just arrived, and you're blaming me for stealing something? Sorry for being late." Mimi explained, I haven't even seen that blue box with a golden ribbon before. Who's lying here? Nikki. Everyone arrived in one taxi, so how could he have been late? Liza is a secret agent, and today her mission is to discover some super important papers from a little house in a faraway village. She arrived there, made sure no one was watching, and was about to enter. But there was a combination lock on the door. Luckily, there was a note nearby. Can you help Liza figure out the code using the note? You have to count how many logs there are in each section of the house. The note has the order in which the numbers must be placed. So the code is 7834. Nick has just arrived home after a weekend at the polo club with his friends. Yikes! He just saw a burglar running out of his house. Nick tried to follow the stranger, but he was way faster, so Nick couldn't catch him. But he noticed the burglar was running towards the construction site nearby. He must be pretending to be a construction worker. Which of these guys is an imposter? Look, this guy is trying to saw through a beam. The guy on top will fall if he succeeds here. He must be the burglar. This family only seems normal. The dad is a real superhero. He can travel in time, he can fly, has super hearing, and always knows when someone is lying. It's cool, but not for his son. He has really bad grades at school and was grounded for the holidays. The boy really wants to go to his best friend's birthday party. How can he escape? He can tell his dad he has to be at school today. He can lock himself in and escape through the window. He can run away quietly while his dad is watching TV. His dad will know when the boy is lying, and his super hearing will help him notice if his son is trying to run away. So, the only way out is through the window. Someone stole a famous masterpiece from an art gallery. 3 people were inside at the time of the crime: the head of the gallery, a maintenance person, and a visitor. The head of the gallery told the police, "I was in my office signing papers." The maintenance person said, "I was cleaning on the second floor and haven't noticed anything suspicious." The visitor said, "I was in the modern art hall and was looking at exhibits." The police immediately guessed who was lying. Can you do the same? It was the maintenance person. The gallery doesn't have a second floor. In a big company, an important contract went missing. 3 employees became the prime suspects: the manager, the secretary, and the analyst. Here's what they had to say. The manager said, "I was busy at meetings with clients all day." The secretary insisted, "I was filing mail in the archive." The analyst claimed, "I was analyzing reports from the last quarter." The police quickly figured out who was lying. So, who stole the document and how did they know? It was the secretary. The company only updates the archive on Fridays, but this happened on a Wednesday. Busted! Someone tried to hack the security system of a top-secret research base. The base is really well equipped, with self-updating software and all the latest tech. 3 team members fell under suspicion: the engineer, the guard, and the programmer. The engineer said, "I was checking the base's power supply, and everything was fine." The guard told the police, "I was patrolling the area and everything was quiet." The programmer explained, "I was updating the system software." The police immediately knew who tried to hack the system. Can you guess who it was and how they figured it out? It was the programmer. The system updates automatically and doesn't need any help with it. An experimental chemistry kit went missing at school, and there were 3 main suspects: the chemistry teacher, a student, and the school principal. Here's what they said. The teacher: "I was prepping for class." The student: "I was reading a book in the library." Principal: "I was reviewing documents about new supplies." The police immediately knew who was lying. So, who swiped the kit and how did they figure it out? It was the student. The library was closed for inventory on the day of the incident, so there's no way they could have been there. You've got 3 boxes, one with just apples, one with just oranges, and one with a mix of both. The problem is that all the labels are wrong. How can you fix the labels by pulling out just one fruit? Think it over. So here's the trick. Grab a fruit from the box labeled mixed. Since all the labels are wrong, this box actually has either just apples or just oranges. Let's say you pull out an apple. It would mean that this box is actually the just apples box. Now you've got 2 boxes left. The one labeled oranges can't just be oranges because it's mislabeled. And it can't be just apples because you've already found the apple box. So it must be the mixed box. It means the last box, which was labeled apples, must be the just oranges box. And there you go. You've sorted out all the boxes. Camilla is packing her bags for her epic trip to Hawaii. She'll be staying in an all-inclusive spa hotel. Is there anything she won't need? This package of coffee beans doesn't belong here. You don't have to make your own coffee at an all-inclusive hotel. Camilla arrives at the airport and meets Noah. He's traveling with his cat, Fluffy. Camilla asks Noah how old the cat is. He replies with a riddle. In 2 years, Fluffy will be twice as old as she was 5 years ago. Can you figure out how old the animal is? Fluffy is 12 years old. On the plane, Camilla sits next to Kai and Mia. After takeoff, the flight attendant brings them identical lunchboxes. Camilla leaves for the toilet. Then she returns and finds out that her bun is gone. One of her neighbors stole it. Can you guess who? Kai has an untouched bun in his lunchbox, but there's another hidden up his sleeve. Shame on you, Kai! Camilla lands in Hawaii and arrives at her hotel. There are 3 ladies in the lobby. 2 of them are millionaires. Can you spot the one who's not? The second lady's phone is too outdated, so she can't be super rich. Camilla goes to the swimming pool area and meets 2 couples. One of them has 3 sons. Can you guess which couple? The first one. Take a look at his tattoos. There are 3 suns on his hand. Each sun symbolizes one of his sons. Time to check out the spa. Camilla looks out the window and spots these two scenes. One of the clients is in danger. Can you guess who? Although it looks weird, there's nothing wrong with the first scene. It's just the skin reacting to the heat. But take a look at the second scene. The size of the needles is too big. They should be way smaller. Camilla makes an appointment for a massage. She can be serviced by one of these three employees, but one of them is not a safe choice. Can you figure out who? The third lady is dangerous. Her nails are too long and sharp to perform a massage. The massage session is over. Camilla goes to the pedicure room. She sees three innocent-looking clients chatting and laughing, but one of them is a werewolf. Can you guess who? It's the second lady. Take a look at her glowing wolf eyes. Ooh. The pedicure is done. It's time to check out the sauna. Camilla leaves her expensive slippers on the porch and enters the hot space. 5 minutes later, she begins to feel that it's time to leave. Oh no! Someone stole her slippers. Camilla questions three ladies nearby. Bianca says that she spent the last 30 minutes inside the sauna, so she couldn't see what was going on outside. Kelly is barefoot, but she swears that she didn't touch Camilla's stuff. And Nina says she's too squeamish to touch other people's shoes. Who's lying? Bianca. Take a look at the sign. Guests are not allowed to spend more than 15 minutes in the sauna, so her story is fake. Camilla goes to the shower area, but she's facing another prank. Someone steals her towel while she's bathing. Camilla questions three people. Kelly says she was blow-drying her hair, so she didn't hear or see anything. Nina says she was on the phone with her boyfriend, and she didn't have time to steal other people's clothes. And Cindy is a cleaning lady. She was washing the floors, and she didn't touch the guest stuff. So, who's lying? Kelly's story is fake. Her hair isn't dry. In the evening, Camilla goes to the local restaurant. Suddenly, she spots a curious family in the dining area. One of these guys is a real ghost. Can you figure out who? This spooky guy has a transparent arm. Surprisingly, Camilla meets her college friends who are vacationing in the same hotel. They haven't seen each other for 10 years. So the guys throw a fancy private party. Camilla has to make a phone call. She walks outside in the middle of the party. In a couple of minutes, she comes back and sees her friend Mike lying unconscious on the floor. He has a weird mark on his neck. It looks like a vampire's bite. One of Camilla's college fellows must have turned into a vampire. The next day, she invites everyone for a beach picnic to talk about Mike. How can Camilla figure out the vampire? She invited her friends to the beach during the daytime. The one who would refuse to go must be the vampire. Camilla is hanging out on the beach. She takes a pretty picture, and then another one. She looks at the resulting shots and spots 5 differences. Can you also see them? Here they are. Camilla builds a beautiful sandcastle. Suddenly, she smells a fresh smoothie from the beach cafe. She goes there to get a drink. 5 minutes later, Camilla returns to her castle spot. Oh no, someone ruined it. Camilla questions 3 people nearby. Bill says he was scrolling his phone, so he didn't look around. Rachel was taking pictures of her daughter Anna. She shows Camilla the pictures as evidence. And Anna confirms Rachel's words. They were too busy taking pictures. After hearing their stories, Camilla knows for sure who's guilty. What about you? Take a closer look at Rachel's pictures. Anna stands in the same place where the castle used to be. She destroyed it with her surfboard. Camilla takes a walk on the beach and spots a beautiful wedding ceremony. Can you figure out which one of these ladies is his wife? It's the first lady. They have identical tattoos. In the hotel restaurant, Camilla spots another touching scene. 2 guys are proposing to one lady, and she accepts one of their proposals. Can you figure out her new fiancé? It's the first guy. Take a look at the wall poster. The second guy is a runaway criminal. Camilla returns to her room and finds a huge basket with flowers and candies. There's also a note with the following text. Camilla questions 3 possible witnesses. Her neighbor Kyle says that he spent all day by the pool. Andy, the janitor, says he cleaned her room in the morning and he didn't notice any gift baskets. Diego, the manager, says he didn't get any special deliveries for her room. Can you help Camilla figure out her secret admirer? It's Kyle. If we read this text backwards, we'll get the following message. Your secret admirer is Kyle. Well, that's a clue. Kyle invites Camilla on a date to a rooftop restaurant. The view is beautiful, so she takes 2 pictures. Can you spot 5 differences between them? One, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There you go. Kyle and Camilla look at the menu and choose the same dish, spaghetti carbonara. Soon the guys get their food and begin to eat. Suddenly, Kyle gets sick and faints, but Camilla feels fine. But they ate the same dish. Can you explain this mystery? The poison was in the black pepper. Kyle added it to his spaghetti, but Camilla didn't. That's why she feels fine. The next day, Camilla visits Kyle in the hospital. She comes across these 2 individual patients. Can you guess which of them is richer? The second patient. He has an air conditioner, Wi-Fi, and an expensive laptop in his ward. What about these 2 patients? Can you guess who's richer? The first lady has a couple of really expensive brands on her shelf. Therefore, she's the rich one. Camilla continues wandering around the hospital and finds a spooky basement. Can you spot anything odd here? This place must be haunted. Look at this old mop. It moves on its own. She finds a door with a combination lock. Luckily, there's also a note with a hint. Camilla tries to enter this code, but it doesn't work. She needs a 6-digit combination. Can you help her crack this code? Camilla should literally enter 28, 31, and 26, and now she can make her great escape.
Okay, let's begin with some riddles where you need to think outside the box just to kickstart your brain.
Yeah.
Here's the first one. You walk out of the house and see 5 pieces of coal, a carrot, and a scarf lying on the lawn. No one put them there intentionally, and yet there's a perfectly reasonable explanation of how they ended up on the lawn. What's the explanation? Someone made a snow person, and then it melted. 2 sisters were born in the same year, on the same day, and at the same hour. Still, they're not twins. How can it be? Do you have any ideas? If they're not twins, then they should be born in a set of triplets or quadruplets, and so on. Kendra went to a birthday party her classmate threw. She drank some lemonade with ice, chilled for an hour, and left early because she had an appointment in the morning. Everyone else at the party who had drunk the lemonade didn't show up at school the next day because of poisoning. Why did Kendra feel okay, even though she had the same drink? The poison must have been in ice cubes, but Kendra finished her drink and left early, so the ice cubes didn't have enough time to melt. Madison and Mackenzie are twins. One day, Madison celebrated her birthday. 2 days later, it was the birthday of Mackenzie, who was the elder twin. Can you come up with a plausible explanation of how it's possible? Here's one. Their mother went into labor at night from February 28th to March 1st while she was traveling. Mackenzie was born first, when March 1st had just started. Right after that, they must have entered a different time zone, which was an hour behind. So it was February 28th again. That's when Madison was born. The year they celebrated their birthdays 2 days apart must have been a leap year, with February 29th squeezing in between their birthdays. Crazy, I know. A man walks into a bar and asks the bartender for a glass of water. The bartender jumps out from behind the bar wearing a scary mask. The man says, "Thank you," and walks out of the bar without drinking that glass of water. Why did he thank the bartender? The man had hiccups. That's why he needed a glass of water. But the bartender scared him, and the hiccups were gone. So he didn't need the water anymore. The man thanked the bartender for helping him. Ellie and Nell were sent by their moms to sell cookies for $1 each. Both girls had an equal number of cookies. Neither girl was allowed to eat the cookies she was selling, and they could return only after they sold all of them. Hours later, there were still no customers. The girls really wanted to go home, but they didn't want to break any rules. After a bit of thinking, they managed to sell all the cookies, but neither of the girls gained or lost a single dollar. How is it possible? Ellie and Nell just started to buy each other's cookies, paying $1 each. Since they had an equal number of cookies, neither of them gained or lost anything. But both ended up full and happy, without breaking any rules. In a small but touristic French town, there is a store called 7 Bells. But as you can see, there are just 6 of them hanging on the door. And it's always been like this. What is the reason? Originally, it was a mistake. But so many tourists started to walk into the store to tell the owner about it that it began to bring in quite a few customers. So the owner just kept it this way. A witch had 3 daughters, Allegra, Helena, and Rowena. The witch was about to retire, so she needed to pick a daughter to pass all her magical powers to, and she didn't know which daughter was the most loyal to her. All of them possessed some magic that they were granted when they were born. Allegra had a magic ball that could show her any person she knew. Helena had a bag of magic dust that could transport her anywhere she wanted. Rowena had a never-rotting pear with healing powers. It would cure any disease. One day, the witch went missing. Her old nemesis kidnapped and poisoned her. The daughters came to her rescue. Allegra used the ball to locate their mother. Helena used some of her dust to go there and bring their mother home. And Rowena fed her the pear. The witch felt better. All of her daughters proved their loyalty to her, but the witch still knew who she would pass her powers to. Who? She decided to pass the powers to Rowena. While all 3 daughters rescued her, Rowena made the biggest sacrifice since her magical artifact was gone, while Allegra and Helena still had theirs. Now let's check how attentive you are. Look, here's a ball and 3 cups. I'll put the ball here in the middle cup. Your task is to watch the cups and then tell me where the ball is. Ready? Go! So where's the ball? Look, it's here. Did you get it? Okay, let's try again. Now I have 4 cups, and I'll be moving them faster. I put the ball right here. Watch it. So where do you think it is? It's in this cup. And let's make it almost impossible and see if you can get it now. 5 cups, and they're moving even faster than before. So where is it? It's right here. If you got it right, you have my absolute respect. Eliza was grounded for 2 weeks after failing her math test. She wasn't allowed to see any of her friends, and she had to spend all her time studying. One night, her mother had a night shift and only returned home the next afternoon. She came to check on her daughter. She knew immediately that Eliza's friend had come for a sleepover. How did she figure it out? Take a close look at Eliza's bedroom. There's a mattress on the floor with a blanket and pillows on it. 2 best friends, Rowan and Brandon, both wanted to ask the same girl, Ruby, to the prom. So the friends decided to ask Ruby's best friend who Ruby liked more. The girl didn't want to share her best friend's secrets, but she gave the guys a hint. Ruby loves raspberries but can't stand blueberries. She likes rowing, but she doesn't know how to play basketball. Her favorite animal is a rabbit, but she's afraid of bears. Which of the boys does Ruby like? It seems like she likes everything that starts with the letter R and isn't a fan of things starting with a B. Following the same logic, she must like Rowan. Mrs. Adams came back home. She had 3 teenage kids, all of whom happened to be grounded at the same time. She noticed that the car was parked differently outside, so she figured out that one of the teens had driven somewhere. She asked who had taken the car, but no one admitted to doing it. James said, "I was writing music in my room. I didn't go anywhere today." Ariana said,
I had been taking a shower and only got out right before you arrived.
And Oakley said,
I was studying for my math test on Thursday. I don't want to get grounded for 2 more weeks. I have a birthday party to attend later this month.
who's lying? Ariana must be lying. If she had really gotten out of the shower, her hair would be wet, but it's not. Okay, great job. Now it's time to have some fun. I'll show you some emojis, and your task is to guess which movie they stand for. Here's the first set for you. What do you think? Yes, of course, it's Forrest Gump. Good job! Here's the next one. What's your guess? The old classic, Alice in Wonderland. It can't be anything else. This one is coming back to our screens this year. Can you guess which movie it is? Of course, it's The Little Mermaid. This one's a bit harder. Let's see, what's your guess? It's I Am Legend with Will Smith. Did you get it right? It was fun playing with you.
Get ready to decipher the enigma.
3 women gathered at a table in a popular cafe. Their appearances seemed to reveal their financial status. 2 of them looked wealthy, while 1 woman didn't seem to be as well off. Look at these ladies very attentively and write in the comments which of them is not actually rich. The answer might not be as obvious as it seems. The woman wearing pearls is not trying to show off her wealth. She's content with her simple, sustainable life. This suggests that she's truly rich. The second woman has extremely expensive accessories. She doesn't need a car, since she will be picked up by her driver and notified of their arrival through her Apple Watch. But the third woman is not actually rich. She doesn't have any valuable possessions, and that money falling out of her bag is actually fake. Look at these 2 couples lounging on the beach. There are designer bags by their side, and they're dressed in fancy swimsuits. At first glance, both couples appear to be well off, but only one of them possesses true richness. If you have already figured out which couple it is, share your ideas in the comments. The couple on the left have some fake items. If you look at them attentively, you'll notice that the logos are written incorrectly. They're also pale. Can it be because they have to work all the time and go on vacation just once a year? As for the couple on the right, their seemingly simpler yet well-maintained belongings suggest that they value quality over extravagance. And their worn luggage speaks of their many trips. Plus, they have tanned skin, which means that they can vacation much more often. A suspected criminal, Doug the Evil Man, had been bouncing around various places in the world. Interpol had been trailing him, expecting to catch him with large amounts of unaccountable cash. When they finally got their hands on the criminal, they only found sunglasses, a wallet containing about $50 American, credit cards, and some foreign loose change. They had nothing to do but let the guy go. In reality, though, man managed to sneak a fortune right before the authorities' eyes. If you have any ideas about how he did it, share them in the comments. These foreign coins were actually extremely rare and incredibly expensive ancient coins. Detective Stanwyck came to Mr. Pennyroll's house to investigate a crime. Mr. Pennyroll claimed he had been kidnapped by bank robbers when he had arrived to open up the bank where he was the assistant manager. They made him open the safe and give them the money. They told the man to drive them to his house. They wanted to get his wife's jewelry too.
Oh my God!
While they were on the way, one of the criminals moved the money into a paper bag and threw the bank bag out of the window. When the car stopped at the red light 2 blocks later, the banker managed to escape. The detective decided to follow the route back to the bank to look for clues. At one point, Mr. Pennyroll shouted that he saw the empty bank bag, and a few minutes later, he pointed at the red light where he managed to escape. When they arrived at the bank, Detective Stanwyck arrested Mr. Pennyroll for a false report. Have you noticed a problem with the banker's story? Then tell us in the comments below. While heading back to the bank, they should not have reached the money bag before they reached the corner where Mr. Pennyroll jumped out of the car. He supposedly did that after the criminal had tossed the bag out. If this story was true, the detective and banker would have passed the corner first and the money bag next on the way back to the bank. Now, there's a truly mysterious case for you. Chelsea walked up to a parked taxi, handed the taxi driver a $20 note, and walked away. Here are the things you need to know. She's not very good with directions. $20 is too big of a tip for giving directions. The girl also has a car of her own, and it's not broken. Can you solve this mystery faster than the other Brightsiders? Leave your answer in the comments. Chelsea was lost and paid the taxi driver to take her to her destination. She followed him in her own car. Look at this picture very attentively. Can you spot a thief and explain your choice in the comments below the video? It's the woman in the brown coat with white lapels. She stands out among the crowd, as everyone else is either wearing sleeveless or short-sleeved outfits. Stephen called the police to report that his valuables were missing. When the police arrived, the man told them he had gone on a camping trip alone. He just got there and set up his tent when it started raining heavily. He hurried to get some dry firewood and left his bag with his wallet and all the documents inside the tent. When he came back, everything was gone. The police officers didn't believe Stephen and fined him for making a false call. Have you figured out how they understood that the man was lying? Tell us in the comments. Stephen said he had set up the tent before it started to rain. But then, why is there a big puddle inside? Tom vanished at around 10 p.m. on Friday in the fall. A police officer questioned his 4 friends. She suspected that one of them had something to do with the guy's disappearance. She asked each of them what they had been doing at that time. Adam said he had been choosing an outfit for a date. Daniel was getting ready for a party that was going to take place at his apartment. Sophia said she had been relaxing by doing yoga before her night shift at work. And Jake was watching birds in the park. After questioning the suspects, The police officer arrested one of Tom's friends. If you know who she detained, write it in the comments. It was Jake. At 10 p.m. in the fall, it's too dark to see birds outside. Police officer James was called into a small hotel to investigate a mysterious jewelry disappearance. Emily had checked in the night before and put all her expensive diamonds in her hotel room safe. After she came back from lunch the next day, the jewelry was gone. James had 3 suspects. The receptionist said she had been out on her lunch break. The maid said another guest had checked out earlier that day, and she had been cleaning their room. Susan, another hotel guest, said that she had just woken up. One of these people is lying. If you figure out who it is, write your guess in the comments as fast as possible. It's Susan. She said she had just woken up, but look at her bed. The maid had already made it. Joan came home one evening and discovered that someone had robbed her house. When the police arrived, they went to question the neighbors. Victoria said that she had been visiting her friend who lived 2 blocks away. She came home a couple of minutes ago. Peter said that he had been ill. He only made a short trip to the pharmacy and stayed in bed after that. Nathan said that he and his wife had been preparing for a barbecue party with their friends. But it started raining heavily, and they had to cancel their plans. Help the police and write the name of the thief in the comments below. It was Victoria. It was raining, and she said she had just come home. But look! Her hair, clothes, and the umbrella, which is standing near the door, are absolutely dry. Tyler was going to his friend's place in the evening when a stranger in a black mask captured him. The next thing the guy knew, he was in a large room, locked in a cage. There were 3 levers in the wall next to the cage. If he pulled the first lever, he would let hungry lions into the cage. The second lever would flood the cage with water. And the third lever would activate a special mechanism that would make the top of the cage move down towards the bottom, crushing everyone and everything inside. Which lever should Tyler pull to survive? Share your choice in the comments. His only choice is the second lever. All the water will flow out through the bars of the cage.
Look at these prisoners. Which of them is going to escape? A small hint. Try to think outside the box. It's the police officer next to them who's going to escape. It's actually a prisoner in disguise. Have you noticed that piece of orange inmate shirt sticking from under his uniform jacket? Look at these people. They have got into a trap, and only a miracle can save them. They're hanging upside down in the air with their legs tied. On the ground, under the redhead girl, venomous snakes are slithering. Under the head of the guy, a fire is burning. And on the ground, under the blonde girl, there are a couple of aggressive scorpions. Who is the only one that can escape in this situation? The only one that can escape is the person filming all this situation. The rest seem to be doomed without some extra help. Maria works as a teaching assistant at a college. One day, she is assigned the task of looking after a group of students who are writing an exam. Maria is sure some of them are going to cheat, so she's extra attentive. And her effort pays off in the middle of the exam. She notices a student who's cheating. Can you figure out who it is too? It's that girl in the back of the classroom. She has the answers written on her leg. Look at these people very attentively. One of them is a millionaire. Take a few minutes to guess which one it is. While the person on the right appears to be enjoying a luxurious lifestyle, he might simply be pretending to be wealthy. The person on the left, with his tattered clothing and sad expression, is unlikely to be a millionaire. The person in the middle, wearing a nice suit and holding a briefcase, might be a millionaire or at least a successful businessman or entrepreneur. But look at the barista. In his pocket, there's a car key to one of the most expensive cars in the world, McLaren. He must be that millionaire, and this beach club is likely to be just a hobby. Look at these two watches very attentively. Can you figure out which of them is real and which is just a toy? The watch on the left is a toy. Look at its mean-at hand. It's too long and won't be able to pass all the way around the watch face. You're trapped in a castle far away from any town or city. You can actually escape by choosing the right path. But which one can lead you to freedom? These three paths look extremely dangerous. Spikes, lava, and even crocodiles. Ugh, scary! But have you noticed that fourth, almost unnoticeable path on the left? It's covered with grass almost completely, but it doesn't mean you can't follow it and get out of that creepy neighborhood. In a small village, there were 3 people who were suspected of being werewolves. One night, the village held a meeting to decide which one of them was a monster. Suspect A had long, sharp fingernails and was known for being able to run extremely fast. Suspect B had long, sharp teeth and was famous for being able to see in the dark. And Suspect C had wild, unkempt hair and could jump extremely high. Can you figure out which of the suspects is the werewolf? It's Suspect B. Long, sharp teeth and being able to see in the dark are both typical characteristics of werewolves. The other suspects have unusual traits as well, but they are not necessarily associated with werewolves. 4 friends went for a walk in a forest. People said an evil wizard lived there. The young people didn't believe those rumors, but when they were in the middle of the forest, a wall of fire blocked their way. Look at the things the friends have, what they can use to put out the fire. Well, they could probably use their water bottles to get some water from that puddle. But even combined, their efforts wouldn't be enough to put out such a large fire. The hose is useless since it's not attached to anything. The friends should opt for this spade and use soil to put the fire out. You get lost in a forest. It's getting dark and it starts raining. You spot a pretty large cave and hide inside. There are 3 tunnels in front of you. The first tunnel is full of hungry crocodiles. In the second tunnel, an unfriendly lion lives. And the third tunnel leads into the crater of an active volcano. Which tunnel should you choose? All options sound really bad. You should turn around and leave the cave. Look at these 3 girls washing off sea salt after swimming in the ocean. All of them look pretty normal, but one of them is actually a mermaid. Which one is it? It's the girl in the middle. If you look more closely, you'll notice that she's just faking and not letting her skin and hair get wet. While walking in the mountains, you hear a deafening noise. It's a landslide. You end up blocked in a cave. You see these tunnels in front of you. You're shocked to discover that a fire-breathing dragon is guarding the first passage. The second passage is almost completely blocked by poisonous vines growing there. And in the third tunnel, you can see the red eyes of very hungry wolves. What should you do? Have you spotted that little opening in the wall of the cave? Over there, on the left. You can see a tiny part of a starry sky through it. Avoid the tunnels altogether and try to squeeze through this hole. Jacob and Mark decided to go on a camping trip. Look at the things they're going to take with them and try to figure out what they should leave at home. To crack this riddle, you need to think outside the box. Look, a tent, game, rice, lamp. All these words consist of 4 letters. But a chair? This word has 5 letters. The friends should leave it at home. Mark came to visit his girlfriend, who lived on the other side of the town. While he was inside her house having dinner, his bike got stolen. Mark called the police. He said that he'd seen that his bike had been taken by Larry, his girlfriend's ex. The police arrived and questioned Larry. The guy answered that he couldn't have taken the bike since he'd been busy painting his fence and had just finished. The detectives believed him. Can you figure out why? Larry's story seems to be true. There's fresh paint on the grass by the fence, which proves that the guy indeed painted it recently. This granny claims the nurse steals her pills, but the nurse says it's a ridiculous accusation. Can you tell who's lying? Pay attention to the nurse's head. She's wearing not a hat. It's a container with pills. So, the granny is right. She doesn't get her pills because the nurse takes them. Olivia's husband was a hunter. Once, he went on a hunting trip for 3 days. But when he came back home, he brought nothing. The next day, Olivia went to a cafe with several friends. They shared their latest news. Donna said, "I've just bought a new apartment. I'm looking for a designer now to help me decorate it." Sarah boasted, "My boyfriend gave me this bracelet for my birthday." Nina said, "And I went skiing in the Alps. It was a fantastic trip, except for those awful mosquitoes." Olivia left the cafe in tears. She was now sure her husband was cheating on her with one of her friends. Can you figure out which girl is her husband's lover? Nina. For one thing, getting bitten by mosquitoes in the Alps while skiing is highly unlikely. Plus, the bites on her face and body match those Olivia's husband has. They must have been together. Miss Maple met her friend Louisa, and the woman told her she'd seen her daughter, who was supposed to be getting ready for an important exam, in the mall with her boyfriend. Miss Maple came home and asked her daughter whether she had gone to the mall. The girl claimed she had spent the whole day at home, studying. Miss Maple believed her. Why? Do you see that course book on the girl's table? It's open in the middle. Plus, there are lots of notes next to the book. And look at those bags under the student's eyes. She must have indeed been studying.
Amy is meeting her brother Ezra at a nightclub. Can you guess which one of these 3 guys is her brother? The first guy is wearing flowers just like Amy, but it doesn't prove anything. The third guy is wearing blue hair, but we still can see his blonde roots. Meanwhile, the second guy has a mole on his arm, and Amy has a similar feature. So he's the real Ezra. Today is Friday. Ezra is going on vacation in 73 days. Can you guess which day of the week it will be? Monday. 73 days is 10 weeks and 3 days. Friday plus 3 days is Monday. At the party, Ezra tells Amy 4 facts about himself. I spent $700 on my new sneakers. I graduated from college with honors. I don't have any piercings. My favorite color is purple. But only 3 facts are true. Can you guess which one is false? Ezra does have a piercing. Take a look at his eyebrow. Ezra goes outdoors to get some fresh air after dancing. One of these 4 shadows on the wall belongs to him. Can you spot which one? Only the 3rd shadow matches him perfectly. Ezra and Amy's granny lives in a country house. They want to surprise her and come with an unexpected visit. Granny wakes up at 7 a.m. with a knock on her door. Ezra and Amy yell to let her know that they're here for breakfast. Granny is confused, but quickly thinks of what food she has. She has milk, jam, butter, bread, and coffee. What will she open first? The door for Ezra and Amy. Ezra and Amy love nature. That's why they go for a walk in the woods after breakfast. On the way, they argue about who can collect a more beautiful flower bouquet. Finally, Amy and Ezra decide to separate, to pick the flowers and then bring them home to ask Granny which bouquet is the winner. On the way home, Ezra gets a rash all over his face. Can you find the toxic flowers in these 2 bouquets? Only Ezra suffered, so we need to look for the toxic flower in his bouquet. This is the flower we're looking for because it's the only flower that's absent from Amy's bouquet. Amy wants to help Ezra meet his true love. She takes him to a wedding fashion show and introduces him to 3 models. Each lady tells a couple of words about herself. Lauren says, "I'll work to earn $1 billion." Bianca says, "I have 3 sons and 3 daughters." And Monica says, "I'd like to travel all over the globe." Can you guess who Ezra will marry? Monica. Ezra is wearing a backpack with souvenirs from different countries, so he loves traveling too. Ezra's vacation begins. He arrives at the airport to fly to the Philippines. Security checks everyone's luggage and reveals one suspicious passenger. Can you guess who? There are 2 suspicious suitcases. This lady is bald, but she carries a big bottle of shampoo. And this guy has 2 left shoes from different pairs. Ezra checks in at the hostel and goes to his room. He discovers that he'd forgotten his hat at the cashier's desk. Ezra returns, but the hat isn't there. He asks 3 people nearby only one question. "Hey guys, have you seen my hat?" The manager says that he hasn't seen any hats. The guest says, "I arrived at this hotel 30 seconds ago and faced a guy wearing a red hat just like yours. He was leaving in a rush." And the janitor says, "We have a room of lost things. There are many hats there, but we didn't get any new ones today." Who's the thief? No one specified that Ezra had lost a red hat, but the guest knew it because he had taken it. Ezra goes parachuting. He's about to land in a few seconds. There are 4 possible spots to touch down. A deep well full of crocodiles that a human would never manage to climb out of. A rainforest with venomous snakes and wild animals. A mountain with no water sources. And a huge tornado in the middle of a field. Which place is more or less safe for landing? The third one. Take a look at the background. There's a village near this rock. Yeesh, Ezra lands badly and wakes up in the hospital. The doctor says that he had a slight concussion and should stay for 1 day. Ezra leaves the ward and goes to the vending machine to buy some chocolate. He returns and finds out that someone had stolen his phone. He questions 3 witnesses. The doctor says, "I had an urgent surgery, so I didn't enter your ward." The nurse says, "I was having a lunch break outdoors." And Mike, another patient, says, "It was the nurse. I pretended to be sleeping so she didn't know that I was watching her." Who's suspicious? Mike. Take a look at the cast on his arm. It was on the right arm when Ezra was leaving, and now it's on the left. The local police brought a famous criminal to the hospital for urgent surgery, but leaving him here alone is too dangerous. That's why 2 policemen had to stay to guard him 24/7. Day by day, the criminal gets better, and then, one sunny day after lunch, he disappears from his hospital bed. Detectives immediately begin investigating his escape. They find out that the criminal had an accomplice who pretended to be one of the doctors. Detectives interrogate 3 suspects. The surgeon says, "I'm the most honest person in the hospital. I would never commit a crime." The nurse says, "I didn't even see the criminal. I wasn't allowed to enter his room." And the chief physician replies, "I don't remember anything. At the time of the escape, I was on night duty and very tired." Who's lying? It's the chief physician. He said it was his night duty, but the criminal escaped in the afternoon. Ezra takes the local public bus to get to a mountainous region. The driver hits the road. He is responsible for both driving and collecting the tickets. When the bus reaches the bridge, the driver starts collecting tickets from all the passengers, but the bus didn't topple from the bridge. Can you guess how that's possible? Easy. The driver had parked the bus before beginning to collect the tickets. The bus reaches its stop. All the passengers leave, except for one guy who's still sleeping. The driver walks up to him, but the man doesn't wake up. He calls an ambulance. The doctor arrives immediately and spots 3 buses in front of him. Can you guess where he can find his patient? Passengers are entering the first bus and leaving the third bus, so the doctor should check the second bus. Ezra is a travel blogger, and the number of his followers is rising. He decides to hire a manager and post a job advertisement. Ezra starts receiving applications right away. Ezra needs your help to filter out real applicants among these 3 people. Take a look at this guy's birth date. There's no 14th month. And this application must be generated by a robot, unless this person is a time traveler. So Ezra should consider hiring the first guy. The local celebrity Gia is singing in a club tonight. Ezra comes to her concert just like many other people. After the show, Gia goes to the dressing room. A lot of people gather around it begging for a selfie with the diva. Gia's guard allows fans to enter only one by one. After a while, Gia disappears. The police figure out that someone has kidnapped her and escaped through the window. They question 3 fans. Fran says, "I'm a singer too and a huge fan of Gia." Nicholas says, "I visit all her concerts. She's my crush. One day, I'm gonna marry her." And Ezra says, "I'm not guilty. I just came here to take a selfie and make my sister jealous." The police figure out who's suspicious right away. How? It's 10:54 and the clock is broken, probably because Gia had a fight with her kidnappers. And now, let's take a look at the time in the pictures. Fran was the last person to see Gia, so she's the most suspicious. Mason is moving to a new town. On the way, he makes a stop at the local gas station. He wants to pay for gas and snacks, but his red leather wallet is missing. Mason interrogates 3 people standing nearby. Ashley says that she didn't touch Mason's stuff. Both of her hands were full of sandwiches. Lily says she was taking selfies for her social media. And the cashier, Xavier, said that he didn't notice any red wallets. Mason knows for sure who's the thief. What about you? Take a look at Ashley's sandwiches. She hid Mason's wallet between 2 pieces of bread. Mason exposes the thief and continues on his journey. He gets hungry and goes to a diner. But immediately, Mason feels something off about this place. Something's completely wrong with one of these 3 waiters. Which one? The lady on the left has wolf teeth, and she doesn't wear any badge on her uniform, so it makes sense to stay away from her. Mason arrives at the town late at night. He parks his car and looks around. Suddenly, Mason notices an unconscious lady on the ground. He calls the police and an ambulance. They arrive very quickly. Meanwhile, the lady comes to her senses, but she finds out that all her money is missing. The police have 3 suspects, Mason and 2 other pedestrians, Noah and Mike. Who's the thief? Take a look at the ground. There are 2 types of footsteps leading to the place where the lady is lying. One of them belongs to her, and the other one was left by Mason. There are 2 parallel straight lines left by a wheelchair. So the thief must be Mike. The next day, Mason meets his neighbors.
Hello.
It's an elderly couple, Ralph and Glenda. They have just finished building a fancy new house. The house looks beautiful, and they invite their 3 grandchildren over to have a look at their work. It takes 1 day for one guy and 2 girls to break several windows, knock down the fence, remove the decorations, and ruin the roof. But the retired couple doesn't mind. They just smile looking at the teenagers. Can you figure out why? The grandparents made a gingerbread house and invited their grandchildren to enjoy it. Dinner time. Mason enters a local restaurant. 2 tables are occupied, but this is not a regular boring restaurant. One of these families belongs to the mafia. Can you guess which one? Take a closer look at the second family. The daughter holds a teddy bear that's stuffed with dollars. Mason decides to go to another place instead. He takes a look at these 2 tables and spots the mafia family right away. What about you? It's the first family. The father has a red laser dot at the level of his heart. A sniper is aiming at him. Mason switches restaurants again. 2 tables are occupied by innocent-looking families. Yet again, one of these groups belongs to the mafia. Can you guess which one? Take a look at the second table. The father is hiding a gold bar in his menu.
Oh.
The next morning, Mason goes to check out the local pool. Can you spot an undercover cop among these people? This guy has a suspicious earphone in his ear. Why would he need it while swimming? Mason is terrible at packing. Today, he's going camping in the forest. Can you help him pack his stuff? Take a look at his bag and spot all the useless items. Oh look, he has an electric hairdryer, but there's no electricity in the forest, so he can definitely leave it at home. Mason and his friend Bennett go hiking in the local forest. On the way, they meet two ladies, Anna and Alice. They hang out together and both guys fall in love with Anna. They want to take her on a date. So the guys secretly ask Alice which of them Anna likes more. Alice doesn't want to share her bestie's secrets, but she gives the guys a hint. Anna loves pizza, but she can't stand burgers. She likes to go to the pool, but she never goes to the gym. Her favorite animal is the llama, but she's afraid of zebras. Which one of these guys does Anna like? Alice wanted to give the guys a clue, so we have to look for some patterns in her words. All the things Anna likes have double letters. Bennett has 2 double letters in his name, so he must be Anna's crush. The guys keep on hiking. Suddenly, they see a beautiful large apple tree growing on a cliff. If a powerful wind blows towards the land, where will the apples fall? In any case, they'll fall down. Alice needs to leave for the city, but Mason, Bennett, and Anna decide to spend the night in the wild. The next day, they wake up in a terrible trap. They're hanging upside down in the air with their legs tied. There's a bunch of venomous snakes on the ground under Mason. There's fire and hot coals under Anna, and dangerous scorpions are crawling under Bennett. How can the guys survive? Can you see that black cloud with lightning? It's gonna start raining soon. The rainwater will put out the fire under Anna. This lady has a knife, so she can cut the rope and then help the others.
Yes!
The guys escape, but they get lost in the forest. It gets dark. They're wandering around and come across a creepy cabin. It belongs to a witch. She says the guys must solve a riddle if they want to escape from her land. The witch writes a number. There are 2 special things about it. What are they? First, this number contains all existing digits. Second, they're put in alphabetical order.
Oh.
Mason and his friends return to the town. Meanwhile, someone robbed the local museum and stole the most valuable painting.
Oh no.
A detective investigates the crime scene and finds the thief right away. However, when asked to give it back, the criminal provides the police with 3 copies of the same painting. He refuses to tell which one is original. Can you find the real masterpiece? Each painting has a different frame, but only one of them is perfectly similar to the other frames hanging in the museum. And since this museum uses the same style of frames, this painting should be the original. Mason gets a new job in a small company. Only 4 people work with him. One day, Mason comes to the office and he doesn't find his favorite slippers. Mason always puts them on while working. He searches everywhere and finally spots them on the roof of the building. Mason is furious. He questions his coworkers. Bill says, "I don't even know where you keep your slippers." Phil says, "I'm terrified of heights. I've never climbed up there." Mara says, "I'm wearing high heels today. I can hardly walk in them." And Ella says, "I respect you too much to prank you, sir." One of them is lying. Who? It's Phil. He said he was afraid of heights, but take a look at the photo on his table. He's skydiving with a parachute. Liar. After work, Mason returns to his condo. He enters the elevator with 3 people. One of them is a police officer working undercover. Can you guess who? Take a look at this old lady's outfit. She has a tiny hidden video camera in her hat. Mason enters his apartment. Oh no! Someone broke the lock and stole his precious golden cup. Mason calls the police and they question 3 neighbors. George was painting his living room all day. He listened to loud music so he couldn't hear anything. Bella was walking with her boyfriend all day long. They've just returned home. And Aaron was sick, so he only went out once that day to take out his trash. He heard weird noises from Mason's apartment. Who's lying? George. His living room doesn't look freshly painted.
Oh no.